Hi everyone, Stacy Casson here, aka the Clarity Concierge. Welcome to day 9 of the Ask Me Almost Anything live. For those of you who can't see me, I'm a man woman. I have short, wavy, salt and pepper hair. I'm wearing a white flower in my hair, clear glasses, and I have on a black and well, it's black, but it's got all these colorful splashes. I don't know, like maxi dress, and behind me is a red background. So, welcome to today's session. We're going to go ahead and start by taking a deep breath in. Hey, Jingle, good to have you back. Hey, hey. So, let's begin by taking a deep breath in and exhale. Welcome, Perkins. Deep breath in and exhale. Deep breath in and exhale. And we're going to start with the Pokemon card of the day. But as always, you can put your questions in the chat. And if not, I found some fun spreads that we can try out and see how it goes. So the Pokemon card of the day is a refreshing change from yesterday. We had the Fairy Energy Pokemon card. This is a pink card. It has a glowing pink sphere with kind of like a stylized flower where the petals look like hands to me holding a diamond or a star or a synapse. I don't know. And it's got like a comet thing going around it. So yeah, I know. And we're not fighting today. Today we're healing. To me, fairy energy cards have to do with healing and just whatever fuchsia means, pink or fuchsia means to you. It could be bring some joy into your life. So whatever comes to mind for you when you look at that, but hopefully we don't have a lot of fighting today. So I thought we'd a spread around overwhelm. There's a lot going on in the world today. And sometimes, how do we deal with overwhelm? What are some strategies that we can use to deal with overwhelm? And our first card is Riolu. Riolu is a ninja dog, and he is jumping off a cliff. And Riola looks like he's just taking it head on. So when we think about how can I better manage what I'm feeling, pink is joy and confidence to me. I love that, being yourself and loving that you are you. And that's going to be important when we're trying to deal with overwhelm, right? Because that steals our joy and our confidence. And when you're overwhelmed, sometimes you go into the freeze. There's fight, flight, or freeze. And sometimes we freeze. So how can I better manage what I'm feeling? And I really kind of love because Riolo is taking things head on. He's jumping off the cliff, and yeah, it's dark around him, but Riolu seems to be a dog of action. So that's the first thing, is to don't give up your power even if you're overwhelmed. It's easy to feel that we can abdicate it, but usually when you face your fear or you face the overwhelm or you admit it, it takes away some of the sting. And then a lot of the times, like we talked about yesterday, our feelings can be telling us something, right? So what are we learning from our feelings? And let's take a look and see. Ooh, we have I love to so far. We have our green Pokemon card. This is leaf energy or grass energy. For me, green is also about the heart chakra. Green is about nature. And perhaps green is telling us that we need to reconnect with nature, maybe go take a walk. Maybe our feelings are telling us that we've been in an artificial space for too long, and that could be part of why we get overwhelmed. I think nature gives us a really wonderful sense of perspective when you compare yourself to a tree. A tree is so timeless, hug a tree. But what are your feelings trying to tell you? And maybe they're trying to tell you, whoa, you need to take a break. Oh, you think pink and green are complementary colors? Let's put them together just because. Oh, those do look pretty together. Well, yeah, that makes sense because plants have flowers and they're green and other colors. So, yeah, that's a great point. And then, how can I help others who are struggling? Sometimes when we are overwhelmed, doing something for other people can also give you a sense of encouragement, a sense of empowerment. So let's see. According to the Pokemon, we have Morlo. And Morlo looks like if a fungus and a marshmallow had a baby, but it's really cute and it has kind of flashing lights. And it's also a grass energy Pokemon card. And it's kind of quiet. When I look at this, there's flickering spores. So, yeah, it is kind of a mushroom Pokemon. I get the sense of sharing the load because mushrooms and fungi, actually talked about this yesterday. They have a really connected system. They their hosts are the roots in a lot of cases, like the roots of other plants, and they kind of form this symbiotic relationship where they help each other. So perhaps when you help somebody else, you help them lighten the load, or you make a connection that can make them also feel that maybe we're not also alone. Sometimes when you connect with other people, see that other people are going through the same things, and where can we learn from each other, because what you're going through might be slightly different than what the other person is going through. So where are the things that we can cross pollinate together to find some things to help us in an organic way to get over the overwhelm? I have a friend, her name is Yinka Walla, and she had a really great example of what overwhelm is. And she said it's kind of like when you squint at the sun because it's too bright, it narrows the field of vision so that you focus on one thing. So overwhelm is kind of telling us to focus on one thing. And yeah, I was confirming what the little card on the Pokemon said. It nourishes itself through tree roots and things like that. So I didn't even have to read that. That was about trusting ourselves and trusting our intuition. So again, if you're playing along at home, whatever intuitive tools you're thinking of using, just trust yourself. And then when you're overwhelmed, what is the lesson in this? We have Judagon again. Judagon had shown up with our love spread. You can watch the replay on that. This is a dragon type Pokemon, and he's not playing. And I think maybe the overwhelm can show up like something fearsome, very defensive. Like when I look at Judagon, I think of somebody that's going to come to our defense. So our overwhelm can sometimes be a defense mechanism to keep us safe. And yeah, you're right. It is the year of the dragon. So anybody that is on the replay that says Lunar New Year, Happy Lunar New Year, or Chinese New Year, but it's really across so many countries, and it is the year of the wood dragon. So that's really awesome. What I learned from this guy I like to follow, his name's Joey Yap, about the wood dragon. Apparently, the year of the dragon really hard on those born on the year of the dragon. It's not, what is it? It's not an auspicious year, but it's because, if I remember correctly, a lot is being asked of them. So dragons are leaders, and if you're not willing to step into your leadership, you kind of get penalized for that. So back to overwhelmed, we can take charge, which I think is a nice follow-up to Ryulu, because both of these are large and in charge. So don't give up your personal power just because you're overwhelmed. So that one was fun. And again, if you all have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the I'd love to hear your responses for all these things. But so far we have no fighting, which is awesome. And since it is the new moon, if you don't have any questions, we could do some new moon manifestation. Why not? I'm all about manifesting new things, right? And changing our mindset. So it's a new year. I mean, we're into the second month of the new year, but it's a new moon, and you don't have to take that. You don't have to believe in a woo-woo aspect, but it's nice. What's a new moon? The moon is basically almost invisible from the sky, so it's like the tiniest sliver. So that's the new moon. Or what is manifestation? Manifestation is being able to bring to life the things that you visualize. Ooh, this is a good one. How do I go about being a good leader? I have a project where I have a lot to work with, a lot of people, and I'm a little nervous. I'm going to keep your question highlighted for a little bit. How do I go about being a good leader? I guess the first thing I'm always going to challenge you is, what is a leader? What does a good leader mean to you? And we didn't get fighting, but we got fire. And when I think about fire in this context, and this is an orange card with a glowing sphere with a fire, a leader is somebody that can motivate people, that can get people fired up and ready to go. A leader is someone that can also put fires. They know how to stoke the situation, to think for things to burn evenly, right? Because leadership, if you don't do enough, things can go kaput. Okay, so you think drive and passion, right? So part of like being a good leader is, what do you good leader is, and then let's try and see how to go about it. For me, I just think about how would I want to be treated, but it is definitely a little bit more to being a leader, because you are leading other people. So you have a project where I'm trying to work, and you're a little bit nervous about that. There is I think hang on, I will, give me 1 second. There is something about being a leader, and it's called change management. Bear with me 1 minute. And I really like this. It's an analogy. Oh, I think I emailed it. Hang on 1 second. But this, and I really don't know the origin of it, but it was really one a really wonderful guide. I know I'm saying really a lot. It was an excellent guide that shows people what happens when you don't have each aspect of change. Oh, hang on 1 second. Hey, Rye. I don't think he's okay. I'll find it for you. I will find this, because it's really wonderful about change and having a vision. So it's something like, if you don't give them the training, then they feel nervous. I will find it. So, and if I don't find it today, I'll find it tomorrow, and I know how to find you all, send it out. But it was a really wonderful guide. Or let me get my kid to send it back to me. And that will make it easier. Can you email me the change thing I sent you? Change thing I sent you. I know I am a human being, but I think this will really help you on the leadership. Okay, so going back to being a good leader. So the first question is, well, what is happening with this project, right? What is happening? And for some reason, you get Dugong, and Dugong is kind of like a seal Pokemon. This is a water Pokemon card, and he's in the depths, or it's in the depths. And perhaps you're nervous because you feel out of your depth. But this Pokemon's pretty calm, even though it's in a deep place. It can be underwater. And being a leader sometimes means digging deep into your psyche, into your capabilities, and being able to close the gap. Okay, so that's resonating with you, that maybe you feel a little bit out of depth. So let's go with that. How do I determine maybe where are the gaps that I need to fill if I'm going to be working on a project with a lot of people? Okay. And so we get the dark energy Pokemon. I don't like calling it dark energy, but that's its official title. I like to this one, and it is a deep navy blue card with a glowing sphere and a crescent moon. And I like to call this one systems and underlying situations. When you look at dark energy from a scientific point of view, it is the stuff that makes up the universe that we see, and yet it impacts us. Yeah, cool. So I like that. And darkness is where you can sleep and rest. So I like to put a positive aspect to dark energy. So when you're a leader, sometimes it's understanding the politics about what's happening out there. Like those are some of the systems and undercurrents that are happening, and maybe that can make you feel outside of your depth because you're not you're not understanding maybe some of the factions, some of the people's motivations. So when you're leading somebody, you're basically trying to get to accept change in most circumstances. I hear that you're working on a project, so I believe that change management might be something that could help you with that. And hopefully I'll get the vision thing that I was talking about tonight. I just find that really helpful. So far we've out of our depths because maybe we don't understand some of the systems and forces that are unseen around us. And that can help you to be a little bit more savvy. And it could be just understanding more about change management and how to assess your stakeholders, who's ready for the change, people on this project, who's on board with the project, and who is the other one. Hang on. I don't know which email, please. Okay. Hopefully he'll send it to me. Okay, so we're feeling maybe a little out of our depths, and it's some of those underlying things. Okay, the project is making an art book with a bunch of artists. I've done it before, but I've usually been closer to the sidelines. Okay, so I definitely think that would help you feel outside of your depth because now I've been in the sidelines before and now I have to step up front. For me, a good leader is thinking about what would you have needed if you were an artist? Because I think for me, and I don't know about you, but a leader is somebody that removes obstacles out of the way so that their teams can thrive. So I think it's creating a shared vision, getting rid of any misunderstandings. When we go back to the dark energy Pokemon, it's ensuring that everybody's on the same page. Some of the things that we do where I work is we do something called a 15-word statement. So perhaps if you're working on a book together, you do an exercise. It's called 15-word statements, and just tell your team, hey, in 15 words, tell me what you think this is about. And then everybody can share their feedback, and you can see, are you aligned or not aligned? Are there maybe some situations that we don't have consensus? And also, I don't know what the requirements are for this art book, so I'm sure it has to hit certain criteria. Maybe it has to be a certain length. So that could be something that can help you with that, is making sure that your team understands what is happening, why it needs to change, that everybody's on the same page. It's also making sure that you're addressing people's concerns, clear communication, making sure that everybody understands the timeline, right? So what can maybe help build consensus? And we get Pikachu as well. Pikachu is happy. Pikachu is an electric one. Pikachu is a yellow kind of cat with super long ears and red cheeks. And Pikachu is in a village. There's flowers and everything there. So I think part of being a leader is to create an environment that makes everybody want to work and be a part of it. So when you see Pikachu, you just want to follow him. He's so stinking cute. But our leadership is not about how cute we are. Our leadership is about creating a shared vision that people will want to work with you and accomplish something together. So it might be from taking them from where we're at to be. Imagine what it would look like when our art book is done. It's going to be beautiful. We're all going to be happy. But there's definitely still going to be some challenges, right? Even in an idyllic, peaceful village, there could be storms. Villages still need a way, because we're humans involved, to get rid of the It's about assigning tasks appropriately, but it's about keeping everybody energized and checking in with your team. So I think what might help you in the depths is to get the team together and share. And I think when you share the vision with people and allow them to participate, being sure that you're building consensus, having open communication, having people trust you, then you and being vulnerable with people. Like sometimes if you look, I don't know this, but I can get you an answer, or what do you all think? This is what we have to accomplish. Does anybody have ideas? If you empower your team, they'll want to work with you. All right. So that could be something that helps. And then what's one? Wow, it's re-emphasize lightning energy. Where's the joy? That sense of empowering other people and creating a good working environment for your team. So and this is kind of interesting. We started with kind of water and depth and hidden system Pokemon cards, which again, they're both very calm and peaceful, but it can make you feel like you're out of your depths, and moving to a station of joy and happiness and fun, right? I like to have fun at work. One of our last CEOs has said, if it's not fun, we should just go home. Oh, I'm so glad it's incredibly helpful. And yeah, and you got this. Again, we talked about believing in ourselves yesterday, trusting our intuition. That all comes into play. But if I find that thing about the aspects of vision, I think it will really also be helpful. So once I find it, I will post that. I really hope you'll send it to me. Awesome. Any other questions? That was a great question. Okay, nothing yet. But if something comes up, we'll pivot and we'll go directly to your questions, because that's the whole point of the Ask Me Anything. So when we're talking about your leadership, let's manifest something new. Let's manifest being a new kind of leader. So what would help you be a new kind of leader? And so the first thing we have is, what have I released? And we get Rattata. Rattata is a rodent, and it's a kind of normal Pokemon. And Rattata looks pretty defensive. Now, Rattata always has to be gnawing on something. It's always like looking and scrounging. And believe it or not, I think this Pokemon actually likes to eat pretty healthy. So perhaps one of the things that we can release is this idea that we're going to be scrounging around. What does Rattata mean to you? He has dangerous suspicions. So perhaps as a leader, we have to trust our people. We can't be suspicious about them. We have to give them the trust for us to gain trust in return. So maybe one of the things we can release is dangerous suspicion. I think that's kind of fun. And then, where are you now? Like, how ready, maybe on a scale from 0 to 10, how do you judge your leadership? And this one, we have Croagunk again. And Croagunk is a lizard with the poison sacs. It is is it fighting or fire? Croagunk, is that a little fist? Sorry, it's a little fist. Croagunk is a fight Pokemon, and he's kind of lurking behind the trees. So he kind of looks a little hesitant about this. So yeah, a 4 and 5 in leadership. And just remember that your qualities and traits are the things that make you amazing, and also your biggest hindrances at the time. I'm a really high energy, hyper person, and that's great when people need encouragement, but sometimes when people are sad and I'm being little Miss Mary Sunshine, that doesn't help them either. So our quality just are, but depending on the circumstances, it can be a help or it can be a hindrance. Okay, so you think you're a 4 and 5 in leadership. So let's think about what would help, or what skills or areas could you work on to make you feel like a more confident. Ooh, Electabuzz. I guess our thing for today isn't fighting, it's lightning. Okay, you're low energy, low interaction with people, which makes you feel distant with people. And I get that too. But so what I'm hearing is maybe you're an introvert and you don't like communication, okay? Because it's no fun being confrontational, and maybe as a leader you're going to have to say things that might not be pleasant. But there's actually a book you might like. Her name is Kim. Oh my gosh, give me a second. It's not Radical Leadership. I just remember Ruinous Empathy. It's not a perfect book, but I really got a lot out of it. Give me 1 second. I'll tell you the name of the book. I got a lot out of it because, and I'll tell you why. Radical Candor, that is the name of the book. The book is Radical Candor, and it is by Kim Scott. Radical Candor by Kim Scott. And the biggest takeaway for me was when you're nice all the time, you're not really helping people because they don't recognize where they need to grow. So for example, if you were a leader and you had a boss and they had maybe an issue with your communication, and they thought you could develop your communication, but they never told you that. And then you get fired because you're not a good communicator, right? They failed you as a leader because they didn't coach you and help you to do better at that. And yeah, as leaders, we have to think of it as like a toolbox. You have to use different size brushes. Sometimes you can use fine pencil, something you might need a marker, something you can use a palette knife since you're an artist. Just think of leadership as all different tools. Maybe your favorite thing to do is beautiful, fine line, detailed information where you can get lost in the world. But sometimes as an artist, you have to, or to communicate the thought, you need big, bold colors, and you want to communicate texture. So you have to use, you're not going to big, bold texture doing little tiny detailed work. So it's the same thing as a leader. We have to get out of our own comfort zone because we need to, because you're dealing with different people and personalities, and you can figure out a way to do that while remaining yourself. Maybe you don't like big team meetings, maybe for one-on-one communication, because being a quiet person or an introverted person generally means that you're a good listener, and people can appreciate that as well. Or you're an observer, so you can see the things that are happening. But like, don't let that demotivate you. Think of, how can I maybe raise my energy level or explore what my challenge is with people. And it could be that because like we looked at the earlier, because you kind of feel a little out of your depth, sometimes it's easier to duck your head and hide, but that's not going to help you grow as a leader. I've always said a comfort zone is a desert and very little grows there. So you can stay comfortable and never grow and progress, or you can challenge yourself. In my current job that I have now, in my day job, I hated talking to people. I would, the whole job was about people, and I would pray to get the voicemail, like, please let me get the voicemail so I don't have to talk to this person. And when I talked to the people, they weren't mean, so that helped. And one of them had a question and I actually knew the answer. And I was like, I can get that for you. And I felt so about myself. And then I was not as afraid. And even when I got the mean customers, after a while, a customer literally said, it's my job to huff and puff and blow things down because I want things done. Because they really upset me till I cried. And they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. They recognize that I'm a human being. So let's see, you noted being invested in things I work in help me feel comfortable with talking to people I don't know. So maybe think about how can you better understand your team. And so maybe consider having one-on-one meetings with them, asking them, how do you like me to communicate with you? What I prefer, how I prefer to be communicated with, but I will do my best to make adjustments so people feel that you're really trying to meet them where they're at. And if you're vulnerable with people, then they can help you along the way as well. So electrobuzz, what's going to you up? And it kind of looks like bigger than it is. So what are things and ways that you can build your confidence? I'm not saying don't be yourself, but maybe you can find some workarounds to help you make those connections that you want. And so what's one step forward that we can do in our leadership? How can we oh, we get the fairy healing card again. So again, think about the things that we're nervous about, the things that make us feel uncomfortable. It's probably a situation that has not been resolved, and that you might need therapy. Me, I'm not a licensed therapist, I'm just a clarity concierge, but that's something maybe if you have access to therapy to work on this shyness. Some people are shy, but sometimes maybe when we spoke up when we were kids, our parents said to shut up or be quiet. Maybe we just had a real encounter with people when we spoke up for ourselves and were quote quote confrontational, and that makes you backpedal away from having interactions with other people. I don't know your story or situation, but the things that make us uncomfortable, as we learned here, are the things that are maybe trying to give us a message. When we talked about that feeling of overwhelm, it's okay to recognize that I am experiencing low energy. Like, don't say you are, say you're experiencing it. And I would like to close this gap with this kind of communication. Good. I'm glad it's spot on that. So that might be something to explore with your therapist, and taking baby steps about that, on how you can, maybe be a teeny tiny bit more assertive. Maybe you can say, I'd rather not, or let me get back to you, instead of being directly confrontational with the no. I mean, no is a complete sentence, but it is hard, especially if you are a recovering people pleaser. I'm a recovering people pleaser, and I've definitely learned to work through that. And I continue to work on that because we're all a work in progress. So, where are, if we to grow, we have to sit with that discomfort and possibly take steps outside of our comfort zone to do the things that would make us better leaders. My boss is challenging me to be a little more confrontational this year, to hold people accountable, because if we don't, again, we're doing a disservice. Is nobody ever told you, I really wish you would communicate in XYZ, then you find yourself let go, and you don't know why, because nobody had the courtesy to be honest with you and to tell you this is a gap, and I need a gap. I went on an interview years and years and years ago when I actually still had to interview, and the the person I interviewed with, who knew me, but they said, I want to give you some feedback. And I said, sure, give me the feedback. And he says, you come across as really nice, but nobody can tell you're competent. And that was not fun to hear. I mean, it didn't make me cry or anything, but I appreciated it, because then I was like, okay, I know what to do for the next interview. And the next interview, I got the job, because getting that feedback about where my areas of opportunity were, I addressed them. I took it head on. And, I was Electrobuzz. I got myself fired up and connected. And then I got the job. So what's a step forward from, okay, working on the healing and being willing to confront that? And we get the switch cards again. So these are two Pokemon balls in a cradle, and the first one's lifting up, and maybe they're going to switch out. So as a leader, sometimes you have to switch out the tactics that you use, because not everyone works the same way. You might have a team member that is neurodivergent, and what if you, like, I'm somebody, if you just tell me something, I'm not going to remember it. I'm like, please send me an email afterwards, because I'm not going to remember it. And I'll literally like say it to myself, walking to my desk, do this, do this, do this, do this. Oops, something shiny. And I won't remember it. So being a leader is about understanding your areas of opportunity, excuse me, your areas of opportunity so that you can create strategies to help you. It's advocating for yourself and also advocating for your team. I hope that helps in being a better leader. And I'm pretty sure you're going to be successful in this because yesterday we talked about trusting yourself and believing in yourself. So hope that helps. If you all give me a second, I'm just going to ask you to comment in the chat. Change. I'm going to try and find the change management thing I was telling you about with the gaps, because I think it will really help you in your leadership, and it's the elements that you need to change. If you're lacking vision, then you get confusion. Oh, I really wish I could do this. It wasn't something I found on the internet, but I will get it to you. I know how to find you. But awesome. I'm so glad that helped. But it's basically, I get, this is driving me nuts. So sorry about that. But when I get it, I will post it in the comments. I can post it on YouTube comments, but like I said, I know how to find you all, or if I can find the link for it, I'll post that in the comments under this chat. But I found it really helpful for people. Like a lot of times it's training. If people don't know what they're doing or don't feel like they know what they're doing and they think they're going to be stupid, that's get resistance as a leader. So going back to the card we had about the undercurrents, the dark energy Pokemon card, it's understanding why people don't want to do the things they want to do. And it's not generally because they don't like you. It's more a gap that they're finding in themselves. And because they don't want to appear incompetent, they might push back and take it out on you as the leader. Okay, awesome. I'm so glad that was helpful. So we're going to manifest our leadership skills because we're amazing people, right? So take a moment for us to do some self-talk, since we're doing our fairy Pokemon energy cards and the lightning Pokemon energy cards. And this can be hard for you to do, but I encourage you to say it with me. I'll say something and you just repeat offline, right? But we're going to try something new today. So I believe I can. I believe I can. I have all the tools that I need to succeed within me. I have all the tools that I need to succeed within me. If I don't know how to do something, I can find out how to do it. If I don't know how to do something, I can find out how to do it. And I'm totally stealing this one from Yinka. If I don't have the resources, I can be resourceful. If I don't have the resources, I can be resourceful. I'm amazing. I love myself. I'm amazing. I love myself. So that was a moment of hopefully a little bit of healing. And if that was challenging for you, that's something to journal about, or again, talk to a therapist. And honestly, me, 5 years ago, I would be in tears. Oh, you like the resourceful. Yeah, I got that. I'm going to put her name in the chat. Well, hopefully this chat is coming through because I don't know. Let me make sure I spell her last. I always get the letters mixed up in her last name. So let me get that right. I don't want to disparage my friends. Ewuola. Okay. I did get it right the first time. Yes, you tell yourself you're amazing all the time. If you don't have the resources, I'm paraphrasing her. You can be resourceful. Okay, so that is in the chat. Hopefully that helps. Okay, awesome. So great. So far we have positive self-talk. We know that we can grow into leadership. Did you know I learned this fact from, oh my God, just losing names. His name is Lorenzo Flores, and he has a podcast, Hacking Your Leadership, the Hacking Your Leadership podcast. And they had done some statistics on leaders, and most of them don't receive any formal leadership training until maybe 5 years to their leadership. So be a little kind to yourself and give yourself grace, because yeah, there's self-help books out there, but literally there's not always a book on how to be a leader. Some of it is trial and error, and some of it is looking at other resources like the one I suggest, Radical Candor, or many other books on leadership. There's one by the Arbinger Institute, Leadership Outside the Box. That was a really good book as well. And that is, I think, in line with nonviolent communication. That one was good because about the times that we betray ourselves. I think it's called Leadership Outside the Box. That is another one for you all. Hopefully you're getting the comments, and if you're not seeing them, let me know, and I'll get you. That's another one. They're not perfect, but those were two that stuck in my mind and have sat with me in my own leadership journey. So cool. So we've tackled overwhelm. We're going to be better leaders. We're manifesting our new skills in leadership. What are we going to do today? Any questions before I continue? Just going to get some water. I don't see them on my phone. Okay, interesting. Because it's funny, all of these comments don't show when I look at my own YouTube channel. So that's really interesting. And they don't show up on my laptop or on my phone. Okay, cool. No more questions. All right, so since we're on leadership, I saw another cool one that might be interesting. You see them yourself? Okay, Asa Perkins. And this career alignment check-in. So I'm using some from Biddy Tarot as inspiration for our conversations. But since we're on this leadership kick, let's check in with our careers. So the first one is, how do I feel about my career right now? And this is a rare Pokemon card. It is a old-fashioned wrapped candy that's a glowing blue against a yellow background. And so for me, this is almost like a toxic candy. Candy can be sweet, but candy isn't good for diet. So how do you feel about your career right now? Maybe there's some really awesome parts, things that energize you and bring you joy, but maybe there's also some parts of it that is a bit too rich for your blood, right? It's not exactly there, because candy is not a group. So that's a little bit about my career, but I don't know what that brings up for you all. Candy is definitely good. I do like the energy of this card. This is pretty high energy. It's glowing. So perhaps you're on a really awesome trajectory in your career, but maybe there's some parts of it that aren't good for you, and maybe we need to change that. So what's working well? And here we have Cutie Fly, which is like a little I don't know, a little bee dragonfly. I think it's all right, but being an artist, yeah, an art, absolutely a career. That's what you do. So why not? And let's not have that self-talk. You are an artist, and that's a career. I mean, we don't want to be starving artists. And a lot of my friends in the artistic community, that was that being an artist. That's why I'm no longer the lead singer of a rock band, because it did not pay the bills, right? So, but I'm doing this now, but this is fun. So we have Cutie Fly, who's in a lush environment and kind of humming along and buzzing along. And I don't get any from this stuff. Yeah, you get commissions. So I think Cutie Fly is kind of humming along, minding its own business. This It looks pretty focused on its goal as it goes through the lush jungle. It's kind of making a path for itself. So maybe your self-determination, being focused is something that's working for you. It's also a fairy Pokemon energy card. So to me, that's with healing. So this just card just looks very organic and natural. So yeah, so vibing is working well. Going with the flow could be something that's working well. And then in our career, what's not working? What are maybe some areas of opportunity? And here we have that Pokemon intuition card. It's a purple card with a glowing purple sphere and an eyeball. And so maybe this would speak to me about trusting ourselves. It could also be about answering our higher calling. Like having a 9 to 5 doesn't let me be a clarity concierge full time. But who knows what with doing new things. Like I've never done a live every day for a month in my life. And this is actually kind of fun. And as I can see, it's helping, which is awesome. And another friend encouraged me today, you have a gift, use your gift and go out there and help people. And that's why I'm doing this, to help people and also for people to see how it is to work with me. So come work with me. I am really fun to work with, and I will change your life or help you change your own, because I don't do anything. You do all the work. I just hold your hand professionally. So the things that aren't working well, maybe when we don't trust our intuition, when we're not working to our highest purpose. And that is a privilege sometimes. There's so many talented people out there, and they don't, or they're unable to do their talents because they're in the wrong place. Maybe there's not a lot of requests for scholars of ancient Greco-Roman history, which is not my major. My major was, do you want fries with that? But sometimes not living up to our potential or being in situations where people don't see your greatness and your talent is a chance to maybe consider doing something else. What is it? How much is a bottle of water worth? Maybe in the grocery store you can get under $1. You go to a club and it might be $5, and you go in the desert and it could be like thousands of dollars. So maybe where you're positioned is how people see your worth and your value. So what's the impact that we're having on others in our career? And we get, wow, card for the day is a fairy energy. And I have a bunch of these, but this is a brand new one. And we get the fairy energy Pokemon again. So perhaps for some of us, we are like the workplace Oprahs, right? People like to talk to us because we're helpful, or we just are people that can solve problems and are good communicators. We're people that can help that. Yeah, you love the pink fairy energy. So whatever that means to you, I like to think, for me personally, healing is a big deal. I actually wanted to be a doctor. I don't like sick people, but I do like, I guess I'm working on healing in a different way. And then what is the impact that work is having on me? And this one, we have a water energy Pokemon card. So we've had water come up yesterday as well. And this is a blue card with a blue water droplet. Sometimes it can be like in a state of flow, and like I really love what I do. All of my actual job and this job, I love what I do in both cases. But yeah, sometimes it can be overwhelming. But I don't know of any career that's not doing the things you love. I'm an artist as well. And when you can't find a resolution on a drawing, it's very frustrating. And you actually have to either like learn from someone else on how to do a technique, maybe watch some YouTube videos or read some art technical books on how to accomplish the thing you want. Maybe it also means sometimes sitting and accepting that you're not there yet. And it just takes you to practice and to learn more. So that could be the impact that work has on people. It can either you're in the flow, you're overwhelmed. Water fits the container. That one I think is very open-ended and up to you when you're thinking and reflecting on your career. And then it's like, what aspects of my career do I want to do more of? And here we have the fire energy Pokemon card. For me, this is an orange card with a fire. And orange for me is about creativity. So I like to do things that are creative in my career. The most frustrating, I have to take a step back and come back to the drawing. Yeah, it's really frustrating to hit a wall, but that's where we grow. That's where we grow. I piece this was back in college, and I was trying to paint my dream garden, and I messed it up. I don't know what I did wrong, but I just kept working at it, and eventually it kind of turned into this impressionist painting that I really like how it turned out. Sometimes a setback can be a way forward. Like Bob Ross said, it's just a happy little tree, right? It's not an accident. We can turn that into something else. And I actually don't mind accidents, even in art, because it forces you to solve a problem. And I like solving problems. Yeah, if we hit walls, we won't ever learn how to climb. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes absolute sense. I'm gonna drink some water. That makes sense to me. If we never hit walls, we won't ever learn how to climb, because you want to get over that wall. So you'll figure it out. All right. So that's what I do more of. And it sounds like I have a pretty artistic community, but whatever fire means to you, whatever fires you up. And then what do I want to do less of? And how funny, we get another water energy Pokemon card. So we don't want to do things that put out our flame. For me, that's usually administrative work. I don't like doing administrative work. It's a necessary evil, but it's not my jam. So maybe that's, how do I figure out getting an intern, or how do I automate that? There's different ways around whatever that means to you. So I think it's pretty funny though that we get fire and water at the same time, which are definitely diametrically opposed to each other when we're thinking about what do we want to do less of in our career. And let's see. Okay, what new opportunities could be out there? We don't want to be a rolling stone that gathers. Some of us, though, that might not be a new thing, because maybe you just got into that role, but maybe you're like, this is not for me. I want to do something else. And so this one we have the dark energy Pokemon card again. So it's looking into what other systems and opportunities are out there, maybe considering, okay, maybe you're in a job right now and it's not a great fit for you, but you are learning things. How can you leverage that into something else? And I think if there's anything that's a dark energy network, it's social media. But there is the power of networking, talking to other people. Maybe you hadn't considered another opportunity, and if you talk to someone else, they would recognize a strength that maybe you just took it for granted, and they say, I really admire this about you. Have you considered working as this, or have you explored this? So in your career, maybe you can look at a stretch assignment. Or I like, every bit of advice that I always give my new supervisors is, find the problem they don't know they have and work on that. Because a lot of times when you go into a new situation, you have a fresh set of eyes, and everyone, this has always been the way we've done it. They might think, well, why have we always done it this way? And you can be a catalyst for change. And then, okay, I want to change, but I don't know how. So what resources are out there for us? What resources are there? What if we know that we have to grow? There's definitely some opportunity, we need to address them. And we get our good friend, the fire Pokemon card. And again, that for me is creativity, basically creativity in this context. Fire energy Pokemon cards are about creativity. So look at the internet, maybe talk to your friends, friends today crowdsource solutions for getting to sleep. So that's a creative way to try and find resources and solutions out there. And maybe you can think of something different. For our artist friends out there, I've been playing around with, I never remember if it's neuropathic or neurographic art, but it's the premise, to my understanding, is that art is kind of like a metaphor for what's going on with your brain, and using that to tell your brain that you're making solutions. It's kind of like a visual self-talk for your brain. Yeah. So talking to people and looking at images fires you up. Awesome. So those are the resources. And so then what's the next step we could possibly take to align our career with our current inspiration? And we get Drillbur. Drillbur is a fighting, or little tiny bit of fighting Pokemon card. Drillbur is a mole with kind of drills for hands, and Drillbur is going in deep. So to better align, we might have to, and his strength is scratch. We might have to start from scratch to be better aligned. Maybe we to learn more skills to broaden our current career so that we have a deeper skill base, so that we're more attractive if changing jobs or applying for the next role at your organization is the next thing. Digging deep, tapping into your reserves. And sometimes it is painful to acknowledge that I need to do more, I need to learn more, I have these gaps, but that doesn't define you. That's just a temporary obstacle that you can overcome. And Drillbur has the tools. He has hands to dig in, and he's hacking at rock, which can be a challenge, and there can be some resistance to that change. But we will close out on fighting today in our career alignments. I hope that was helpful. Sorry, I'm not hoping. That was helpful. I enjoyed that, and I'm learning from it. And you probably got a different perspective, because who talks about Pokemon and careers? Me, I do. And if there's no other questions, we have 3 minutes. I'm going to drink some water. Sorry. Wow, that's the wrong way. Hold on. Let's continue. Yes, fighting. Let's continue with our healing, our magical fairy energy for tonight. And we'll close by taking a deep breath in and exhale. Breathe in some confidence. Exhale self-doubt. Breathe in new things. It's a new moon. And let's release some of our old ways. I want to thank everybody for joining. Tomorrow's session is a morning session, so maybe those of you on the other side of the pond can hit that one. Tomorrow is 8 a.m. Eastern Time. If you have any questions, you can send them in advance. But I look forward to learning new things together, synergizing. We can be the fungus and grow together, have that symbiotic relationship. But thank you all for joining. It's been amazing, fired up, ready to go. And keep me posted on how the leadership thing goes. And for anybody out, yeah, it does go by fast. Oh, 10 a.m. for you? Okay, cool. So maybe you can sleep in tomorrow. Okay, awesome. Well, I look forward to having you tomorrow. And yeah, keep me posted on how the leadership goes, how your art book goes. Yeah, no worries. You can always just put your questions in and get back to them. You can send them through Gnomes, and you can just watch the replay. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. And I'm learning so much with your questions. And this was, and we had a theme. I didn't even plan a theme, but look, we had a theme about overwhelm and career. So thank you all for joining. Have an amazing, magical evening. Go fairy power. And we're still fighting, but for ourselves. Have an awesome evening. Take care.